Um, so this next question is going to be sort of a two-parter, if you will. And so let me kind of put both parts out there, and then you can address it. One part has to do with the so-called ADUs, or accessory dwelling units. And the question there is, given that there are some new state laws like AB 670 that take away local control on zoning, including overriding existing CCNRs, from a city council point of view, what, if anything, do we do about that? And then let me tie that also to the other issue, which is the mandate that we have a certain number of areas zoned for so-called low-income housing. This is also coming from the state. And there seems to be at least some evidence that one of the ways that they might want to see that would be to take existing parkland and put such housing on that parkland. So both of these issues, while not the same, I think have some linkage between the two of them. And so what I'd like to hear from you all is your position, your thoughts, what should we do, what can we do? Bill, I'll start with you.
Okay. So I have a personal opinion about some of these bills that have come down, overriding our CCNRs. I believe very strongly that they're unconstitutional. I think if taken to court, they'll be thrown out. So I think what we need to do is we need to join up with other cities. Torrance is putting together a consortium of cities throughout the state, as many as they can get, and speak with a louder voice. Just because we're a bigger organization, we can share costs and go into court. But I think if we go to court, that we'll get these overturned. On low-income housing, the city manager made a statement the other night at a meeting that we only have to zone for low-income housing. We don't actually have to build it. I think that gives me some comfort that we can have a little better local control of that. At least I hope so. But I think the most important thing right now is to get with other cities and really get aggressive in going after these new laws that are coming down.
Okay, thank you very much. Jim, you're up next.
Yeah, so as a member of the Planning Commission, I have had the opportunity to be involved in the city's response to a lot of these state mandates. And I have consistently opposed anything that would erode our local control of development. All of it is very critical in order to make sure that we are able to maintain views, maintain people's privacy, maintain the character of our neighborhoods, and just maintain the lifestyle that people chose when they decided to live in Palos Verdes estates. I think that our response needs to continue to be to express both as a council and in partnership with similar cities, our opposition to this overreach of the state government. I am sympathetic to the calls for, dealing with issues of homelessness or housing affordability for folks who are, among the most vulnerable. But I don't feel the solutions involve a one-size-fits-all plan, or frankly should impact bedroom communities like ours in the way that that the state has tried to mandate. And I would continue to advocate in that direction if I was a member of the City Council.
Okay, thank you. Dawn?
I agree with Bill and Jim in terms of the best way for us to fight this is to organize and join in with other cities in order building coalitions to have a larger voice. Part of my concerns, there's a couple things, but the first thing I want to say is I do not support using our parklands for any kind of housing development, whether it's low income, medium income, or high income housing. I don't support that. And when I moved here for the parklands. That was a big part of our choice here. A couple of problems with some of the legislation that's going on right now. One is that a recent study came out stating that the reports or the institution that came up with the housing needs assessment overestimated the number of houses need because there was double counting and they were using some incorrect assumptions. So, and that more, the greater burden ended up being in Southern California. So some of these estimates around how many houses do we need are suspect. The other problem with it is the study showed that even though there is supposed to be a concentration on developing low-income housing, in essence, the legislation's not doing that. Most of the housing that's being built is done at market rate. So it ends up being a developer's boon. So that's a problem. And the other piece of this is the housing is supposed to be about reducing global warming and commuting times and gases from people being on the roads. PVE is not close to jobs. We're not going to address that issue. I live in Lanada Bay. I had to make a decision to drive that extra 10 minutes just to get to the other side of the hill, and then another 20 to get to the highway. So PVE does not help them achieve their goals.
Okay, thank you very much. Gain, I believe you're up next.
Yes, I think I do agree with almost everyone on this same issue. The homelessness issue, I think, it's a state issue. We really need to collaborate with all the government type programs to address homelessness. I'm not so sure that developing homes, particularly on our parkland, absolutely not. We don't have the services available. Even if we built something not on parkland and made it for the homeless, the cost of doing it and the services involved would be more than our city can bear right now, let alone in the future. I think that we can't afford to get into a big legal battle one more time to go around, another $1 million in legal fees. So clearly we would have to have a collaboratively based effort with other cities, other big cities, not just all the cities on the Hill, to kind of address this overall problem in California, even if it's just in Southern California, of homelessness.